Let me apologize for starting the program behind schedule. Hello and thank you for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, President Buhari restates commitment of his administration to free, fair and transparent 2023 elections as Governor Akeredolu says APC must take a position on zoning. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Chia Olamoke Nwanko. So, if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Let's begin with safety matter now, because there is nothing more important than a good, safe and secure home. Yet another building has collapsed in Lagos, and we are now dealing with the attending impact. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, said the death toll at the collapsed three-story building in Ebutemeta in Lagos has increased to 10. Made up of 6 males and 4 females. According to the Southwest Zonal Coordinator of NEMA, Ibrahim Fariloye, the victims included a 4-year-old baby boy and a female youth corps member, while the number of rescued occupants remains 24. Today, Lagos is becoming so notorious for...
I just can't explain why we keep having this problem in Lagos. Yes, this is a state that seeks to number among the mega city-states of the world. And we are allowing this to happen. We are allowing this to happen. The question is, every time this happens, who gets punished? Who are the people whose responsibilities it is to ensure that
forestall this?
Yes, to make sure that this does not happen, and that when people are building a house, that they comply with all the stipulations put in place by the urban regional planning board. Where are those people whose duty it is to ensure that due diligence is done? Every time we keep hearing about this. Every time.
Lagos.
And you see, my worry is that this will get worse.
Yes. Because
a bag of cement that we used to buy 2 years ago, between 1,500 to 1,600, is now 4,000 naira.
So
in some cases, it is 4,001, and you will still pay to
load it.
Yes. Now, cement is not as costly as reinforcement. By reinforcement, I mean iron rods.
Yes.
If you know how expensive iron rod is now.
All those things are necessary.
Yet, when you want to do what is called DPC or German floor, as some people like to call it, when you want to do your foundation,
yes,
you need
all this
granite or gravel. If you can't afford granite, because in the olden days it was granite, it was gravel that we knew. But you need the cement, the mixing to be pure, so that it can be rock solid. And in the environment that we find ourselves in Lagos, the swampy nature of the soil means that the foundation has to be very strong. But how many people are prepared to spend all that money? Because
not to compromise safety standards.
You want to do 4-story building, for example. Your DPC has to be rock solid.
Yes, and
the German floors to
be rock solid. The required amount of cement.
That alone can account for at least more than half of the cost of putting up the building, including the lintel. So people who are reluctant to spend all that money, they will now try to cut corners. There is the number of head pounds to a bag of cement. If you do not comply with it, and given the soil texture around here, there's no way that the building won't be compromised. But we are not. Every time we just hear about, a building has collapsed, people have died. What do we do? The one that collapsed, the high-rise building that collapsed the other day, we could have avoided it.
Yes.
With some of those videos that came out later, it was clear that something was wrong. We could have avoided it. But we prefer to let the construction continue. Now it claims lives. Look at that of the church, the Synagogue Church of All Nations. The report, the coroner's report showed that those stipulations were breached. Clearly, they went against all known norms.
And people perished.
Yes, people perished. Look at, and it was even the decision of the coroner was that the engineers who handled that should not be allowed to even practice anymore.
The Lekki story building that collapsed, they've given the verdict that the 2 other adjoining buildings should come down.
Yeah.
The buildings are still standing till now.
Until it kills people. I don't know what's wrong with us.
So, okay, if you go to places like Ebutimeta, you go to Lagos Island, and you see some buildings, as in, just go to Lagos Island and see those buildings the way this building are standing. Men looking at those buildings, you will know that, look, any moment from now, these buildings, they will give way.
Yes. The question is which building will collapse next? Because there are two classes of structures in this case. You have ones under construction that
substandard
collapse. There are ones that have been constructed for decades that have a stress, problem. We've had a couple of building collapse in Lagos that forced the state government to say that they are going to carry out stress tests in many of these buildings.
Yes.
So the question is, how far have they gone with that exercise? How far have they gone? What is actually the brief of those in the regulatory agencies? Because what we are seeing now is a question of failure of regulations and enforcement. If you read the account of how this structure collapsed, especially from those who survived it, the residents there have been given quick notice, but they didn't comply. The issue is, who gave them the quick notice?
Nowhere to go.
Was it the owner of the building or the appropriate state agencies? The fact is that when you see some of the things happening in Lagos, you will begin to wonder why Lagos should, parade itself as a center of excellence and a mega city. So we have to get the agencies involved, to do their job.
Densely populated.
Yes, and to make sure that some people suffer for these unavoidable deaths.
Yes.
These are deaths that are unavoidable. Because if people who have that responsibility to be going from street to identify these structures and then mark them for demolition, these things will not happen.
Some of these buildings, they lean on each other and they don't have clear demarcation. And the way you see it, you see very funny looking buildings.
Where a building, because where the building superstructure is designed to carry just 2 stories. And our people, out of a desire to make money, we start adding to it. We start adding to it. That was what caused the Synagogue Church of All Nations to collapse, to come down. Then they started telling us that it was an aircraft that overhead.
Yes.
An aircraft just going to its destination. Because the place is on the aircraft flight path.
It became a witch.
You now told us that it was the aircraft.
Conspiracy theory.
Yes.
And some people believe that nonsense.
Yes.
Now, if you it was not, those guys added more floors without
more
permission.
Than the design.
Yes, without permission. So if a house is meant, given a superstructure, is meant to carry just 2 floors, and you went to add 3 more, ultimately it will come down. It will come down. So this is the issue that we face. the regulators are sleeping. Some of them are compromised. Some of the most corrupt people that you can think of are the ones who are supposed to do this regulation. I remember interviewing Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu at that time, in the early stages of his administration. And he said that he discovered that approvals were given by crooked civil servants for skyscraper to be built on drainage channel in this Lagos. So all he did was simply to punish some of them. Because let's face it, sometimes you cannot, if you have to remove that building on the drainage channel, how do you do that? Because they had valid permit. It can lead to litigation. To avoid that litigation, you allowed the building to remain. Yes, we are going to, the result of it is you are going to have issues like flooding and all that. But the civil servants involved, he sent them packing.
All right. There's no end yet to the madness in the southeast. In the latest round of killings in the region, gunmen killed 4 persons, including 2 brothers and a policeman in different parts of Anambra states. The victims were reportedly shot by the hoodlums for violating a sit-at-home order. In Imo State, gunmen killed 2 soldiers at an unknown location. The victim, A.M. Linus, said to be a sergeant of the Nigerian Army, and his wife, a lance corporal in the army, were reportedly beheaded after being shot dead by the gunmen. Chawoke, Lamoke, Chawoke, no. This is unbecoming in the southeast.
Really, is quite disturbing. Disturbing not really because of the fact that this is happening. Disturbing because of the fact that the end of it is not in sight. We've had series of killings between Anambra and Imo, in the last 1 month that will make you to ask questions. When are we going to, get this madness under control?
Because are you not telling me that sit-at-home order
yes.
now has come to stay here? And
IPOB has come out clearly
separately
to say that they are no longer involved in sit-at-home orders on Mondays. And just middle of last month, they came out with a list of people they considered as people who are behind this mayhem.
Okay.
Release it publicly, their names. That, as we've always, pointed out on this program, there are some
people that have hijacked that struggle.
Several elements, cult groups, armed robbers, and those who are trying to use IPOB to further their own interests that are behind these killings. That shouldn't be allowed to continue. And it's good that IPOB has come out to state exactly where it stands on this Monday sit-at-home. So the job of the security agencies is now well cut out for them to see to it that all these people who are killing and maiming citizens, harassing the state, killing soldiers, policemen, going to public places, like they did at INEC office
in Imo State.
That made INEC to suspend the registration of voters in that area. They should do their work to bring them to book, because they are making the Southeast ungovernable.
Today, if we are going to conduct the 2023 election, and if you listen to those gunmen talking in that video, the last INEC video that they went to, that we told you that there shouldn't be election, we told you that you guys should stop.
We are fighting for you.
Stop. That means we must do something to make sure before election holds in that region.
Yes, but don't also forget this is not the first time that we should trust the election will not hold. An election will eventually hold. What are we talking about? Local government elections held in Enugu State, despite the threats. There's no way, because they are asking for a referendum, but the Nigerian Constitution does not have a referendum
at all
mentioned anywhere in it. So how do you begin to say no, that there has to be a referendum before we can have election? So if things continue this way, honestly, they are going to crush the economy of the Southeast. And the Southeast has some of the most inventive and creative business people in our country. The Southeast must be rescued from the cultists and vagabonds who have taken it over. This shouldn't just continue. The other day, they went to the local government headquarters, the home local government headquarters of the governor of Anambra State. This is the man who came in and said, look, I want this thing to come to an end. Civil servants on Mondays come to work, this and that. And they attacked local government headquarters. And they said, oh, we will continue this attack until the governor now said, okay, I'm shutting. Because if he didn't do that, and they went to another one and slaughtered people, they went to another one and burnt it down, people are going to say, oh, the governor was insensitive, there was no effective response from him and all that, because there was no response, that's why people are dying. I was listening to the Anambra Traditional Council leader, Igwe Unemeka Achebe, saying that, look, there's no sit at home again. IPOB has guaranteed that it has no hand in it. It is not interested in any sit at home on Mondays again, that people can go about their businesses. In fact, he said that IPOB, they reached out to IPOB and they made phone calls to say we are not interested in this thing. But in spite of that, masked men are going around on Mondays and slaughtering people. And even
it's a fear factor.
And it is, this whole thing is now concentrated along the border between Anambra and Imo State. We know where these things are happening. Why can't we protect our people better? There are people, many people oppose this idea of sitting at home, but they have no choice. Banks have made up their minds to not open. Even some banks will open on Saturday, but there are some banks that have said no, even on Saturdays we won't open.
Even policemen, they won't wear their uniform to
somebody called us to say that even policemen too are observing sit at home. So who will protect people? If you see no sign that policemen are manning the roads, that soldiers are manning the roads, where are you going to find the courage to come out to say you are not going to sit at home? So this is the reason, if we flood the street, for example, with policemen, people will feel confident to come out. But that's not happening. That's not happening. So no one knows when this thing will happen. You know, when the governor of Anambra was issuing those threats, I said it here. I said, look, these threats now, on Monday, people will not go to work and they will not listen to their governors. The governors have issued threats, but people prefer to stay alive than obey an instruction from a governor, knowing that even enforcement of government directive is difficult.
The life of even the military couple was claimed to have Lance Corporal A.M. Linus.
And
his wife.
Is the wife that is Lance Corporal. The husband
sergeant.
The husband is a warrant officer.
Yes. It's really unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The governors of the Southeast, must continue to, do what they can to put this matter behind us. Yes, Soludo came on board and offered them olive branch, you know, thinking that is what will solve the problem.
Offered amnesty. So
yes, it appears they are not taking it. So the man should talk less and then do more behind the scene, because the more he becomes vulnerable, the more he becomes vulnerable about it, the more they attack.
All right.
You know.
Okay. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangouts. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's still Journalist Hangout, and I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju still in the house and Chiawu Lamoke Wanko in the house. Now, they come in different shapes, styles, and persuasions to mesmerize their flocks. Various men of God are bound in our midst, as predicted by the Holy Book. The Christian Association of Nigeria CAN in Kaduna State has disowned one pastor, Adi Ibrahim, who offered to take his members to heaven if they pay a fee of 310,000 naira. Chairman of CAN in the state, Reverend John Joseph Hayab, called for a proper investigation of Pastor Ibrahim's identity and the location of his ministry to avoid creating panic and misleading the public. Jide, I saw this thing trending online and I laughed that, you know, Christianity has gotten to a level, or the way we practice it is as if some pastors brainwash their members, and those members, some members are so stupid.
Timid-hearted.
Yes. What's the name of this? You adopted this thing. Then he said he has a church in Omo Ekiti. He has a camp in Omo Ekiti, and from that camp, you should pay 310,000 naira, and from Omo Ekiti, that will be a stopgap before. You know, I don't know. People are stupid in the name of religion. They tinker with people's brain, and I don't know.
There was an African pastor some time ago who said people should go out of the church and start eating grass. That video went viral. People ran out of the church building and they were any grass that they can find, they were just eating. Like sheep. Even goat will be selective in the grass that it eats.
I don't know where that is.
So there was another one. People are just dumb. This is not okay. There was another one that on the eve of the new year, I think in Ghana, started bathing for women. He came with a huge what's it called? This basin,
bowl,
plastic basin, big plastic basin, and those women already undressed. They will now go inside, and he had a sponge that he was using to bath them. I say, in this continent, all kinds of funny things happening. One even claimed that he died and woke up. People can't reason. They have outsourced their sense of reasoning to their pastors. Then the pastors think for them.
Some ask their members to bring cutlass to church. So come and cut the head of the devil.
Imaginary.
Cut the head of the devil.
So now the devil still exists.
After you've cut his head,
still exists. He will harass another person somewhere. People should, for God's sake, there is a lot of impotent religiosity.
I think it's
signifying nothing.
I don't know, maybe the role poverty is playing in all this. I don't know.
No, but even the fact that somebody is poverty stricken does not mean that his sense of reasoning has taken a leaf. Because look, I may not be rich, but my sanity is still intact. And if my sanity is intact, and I went to school, and you tell me that this is green, and by my education, I know that this is not green. of course I'm going to argue with you. And if you are a pastor, you think you can hoodwink me and tell me this black is white or white is black, I will spit in your face. I mean, we just can't continue like this. Some people have given their lives more or less to these gods of men.
Not men of God.
Not men of God, are gods of men. Men who have chosen to allow them to run their affairs. You leave everything in their hands. Whereas it's God that says, okay, cast your burden
upon Jesus.
Yes.
For he cares for you.
They do not even understand the Bible. Some of the things that they do show clearly that they do not understand the Bible. And they are the same people who tell women who are going through extreme physical assault within their marriages to not get out of the marriage. That the divorce is not biblical. When will this nonsense end? People are just looking for means to cheat our people. The little
310,000.
the little money that they have. The little money that they have, you are still trying to take it from them.
Take it from them.
You are this kind of pastor.
The man should be arrested, should be prosecuted for OBT.
Is guilty of elevated 419. That's what he's guilty of. He's guilty. He should be hanging out with the well-known Yahoo boys in our country. This is pure 419. Not deceiving the people.
You know, at the end of the day, there's this syndrome that pastor says, and their pastor has succeeded in brainwashing them. Whatever the pastor asks them to go and bring, if you like your last saving, that if you just have that faith, just go and bring your bank account, bring everything. And some will even tell them that there's going to be miracle alerts in that this thing, and there's going to be alert in that angels of God will deposit money in your account.
Do they work in Access Bank or Zenith Bank?
This is show exactly the fact, according to the Bible, that the end of the world, if you are a believer of Scripture.
I think
Christ said it,
Matthew,
that
even the elect.
Yes, that this is how the Christendom is going to, be functioning. If you do research or go online to find out the activities of these pastors, you will know that what they are doing, they have some, devious, evil background. They have evil background. There was a video that I have in this one church in Asaba, where the wife spoke for an hour, 28 minutes, confessing the evil activities of the husband as a pastor. How they were even killing people, sucking blood.
Yeah. They do see that video of the pastor who was shaving the pubic hair.
Yes,
of church members.
Very many. Even at times they will tell a woman who is seeking for the fruit of the womb that unless if they sleep with them, they will not get pregnant.
And it's going to be difficult for you to criticize them because they say, touch on my anointed.
That is what is happening.
MPG is calling us from Abuja.
That is if indeed they are anointed. I will criticize you.
Do rubbish, I say.
I will criticize you.
Thank you for joining us. MPG, thank you for joining us. Are you there? Okay, Jide.
Hello?
Oh?
Yeah. By their fruits, we shall know them.
Yeah.
So these ones have already shown to us what they are made of. These are agents of Lucifer, demonstrating Luciferous tendencies.
Yeah.
So we have no reason to think that they are Christian. Look, I've seen Muslims who behaved in Christian-like fashion more than even some of the people who claim that they are Christians. So it's not everyone who calls himself a Christian that is a Christian. Because to be a Christian, you must be Christ-like.
Christ-like life.
That's
That's what Christianity is all about.
Yes, that's what it's all about. The word Christian is derived from Christ. So if by your conduct you do not show those tendencies that have come to be identified with Christ, then you are fake. You have no reason to call yourself a Christian, not to talk of a man of God. Some will even boast. He say, if I am called, that this is what will happen.
Telling people to bring their last cash. Come and drop
Some
it
will
in
sell
your
their
office.
houses. Some will say, remember one that even sold
the seed of faith.
one stole money, was working with one of the best hotels in
Hotels,
Anambra.
yeah.
Remember,
Yes,
he stole the
I
church
know
money, and he stole the hotel's money and used it to buy generator for the church. silly individual. You steal and then went and donated. Some of the people who come out, they stand in front of the church to say they are giving testimony. That, someone was expecting one money came. It is stolen money that is giving testimony about. Stolen money that came through crooked means. That's what he's giving testimony about. You think you can mock God. You think you can deceive God. God cannot be mocked.
Even the video that I told you, the wife of the pastor from Asaba.
Okay, I have John from Abakaliki, that's Ebonyi State. Thank you, John. Hello, John. Hello.
What's going on?
The speaker. Okay. Okay. So we are calling on the Inspector General of Police.
They need to parade.
Yes, this Pastor Ade Abraham that collected 310,000 in Nigeria of today for church member to go to heaven.
Difficult times.
Has access to go to heaven. I don't know.
He did give them a boarding pass to heaven.
To heaven.
No, once
It's not hard for anybody to put together 10,000.
At the time when people are trying to pay school fees, you know, when schools are trying to resume, people's heart will be in their mouth.
Yes, sir.
You know, this is the time that someone now decided to take that kind of money from people.
And people were calling, we understand that people were even calling their children
to send them money.
That, look, they don't want to incur the wrath of this pastor. That this pastor, they don't want to incur the
Yes, asking them to make sure they assist them in providing the money so that they can go to the pastor. You see, is this issue of not really reading the Bible, waiting for somebody to stand in the pulpit and they tell you whatever he feels.
They have no mind. They have no mind of their own.
Yes, rapture.
If you have a mind of your own, somebody who does not have two heads is standing in front of you and is just conning you, and you get so easily deceived by what a con artist.
Even when Christ in the Beatitude said that some people will inherit the earth, this earth, he said, the meek shall inherit the earth. Those who preach rapture, they think that everybody will go to heaven. Even when John, who wrote Revelation, he saw a new heaven and a new earth, where God said he's going to destroy heaven and create a new earth. So if God creates a new earth, who will live there? Will it be desolate?
You are even going beyond the...
You are going beyond our realm. We are just saying these guys are fraudsters.
Let's talk about this fraudulent. Let's leave what John saw. Let's leave that.
All right. Now, the only recipe to good governance is a credible electoral process that will bring good leaders on board. But are we trailing this path as a country? As the 2023 elections draw nearer, President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his commitment to a free, fair, and transparent process after joining other Muslims to observe Eid al-Fitr prayers in Abuja. President Buhari said he will hand over to any persons that Nigerians elect. Meanwhile, the governor of Ondo State and chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, Rotimi Akeredolu has urged leadership of the All Progressive Congress APC not to keep the party members waiting on where the next president should come from. Governor Akeredolu said it is the turn of the South to produce the next president. Hence, the APC should have no difficulty in making pronouncement on the issue, just as it fixed fees for the purchase of nomination forms. Jide, I know that, look, in this 2023, you can't just call black white. So APC, the last NEC meeting they had, and NEC gave the power to NWC to decide what and what to do. And Rotimi Akeredolu is now saying that, look, tell us where we are going to. And he's saying it like power should. It is not the turn of the South. So, reading that letter, what did you read between the lines?
No, I think this is a natural response to the statement made by the national chairman of the party that the party had not taken a decision on where the presidency will be zoned to. Remember when Nigerian newspapers carried the story that the presidency had been zoned to the South. It was on this program that we debunked it because there was no such decision taken. And we had to delay this hangout for about 7 minutes so that we could confirm from somebody who attended the meeting, who then told us that no such decision had been taken. What people thought amounted to zoning the presidency to the South was the announcement by Governor El-Rufai that the positions earlier held by the South had been swapped to now be held by Northerners. So people now felt, okay, automatically, even the president's position too will go. But the president's position is a national elective position. It's different to party position, party elective position. And if there was no decision that was made categorically, there's no point in the name of interpretative journalism just coming to claim that, that decision had been made. The APC appears to be trying to copy the PDP in virtually everything these days. The PDP came short of zoning the presidency to the South. After they zoned all other elective party positions, people were waiting. And the governors of the PDP, majority of them, are Southern governors. People were waiting to say, okay, what will happen? Then later on they said, okay, no, we will zone other positions, but the presidency for now. Let's
so because of expediency of time. Let's committee.
Let's wait for now, this and that. The two parties are monitoring one another. They think they probably would think that, if we zone this thing to the north, to the south, and PDP goes to pick presidential candidate from the north, it may enable the PDP win because of the population. In terms of population, the north has an advantage. But if a party was set up on the basis of justice and fair play, and the party wants to stay cohesive, what makes sense is to allow this thing to go to the South. And that is what many of the leaders of the party have said in the past. We can't now, because we are now approaching
8 years.
Yes. We can't now say, because we are now approaching an electoral season, some of the promises that had been made, we will now suddenly change them. You can see that the body language of many people in the APC, especially even Northerners, is that this power should go to the south. We've seen
So
some
they're warming up
popular
their-
governors saying it, Ganduje, El-Rufai, the governor of Katsina, you know, people have been saying it. Then suddenly, if you look at even the aspirants, you will see that northern aspirants are not really, at least there's no formidable person beyond the governor of Kogi, who came out to say, look, this is the turn of the North Central. We are really not seeing a preponderance of northerners coming out to contest.
see.
And that is because they think that it's
Morally.
only charitable.
Yes.
It only makes sense that Buhari, having done 8 years,
from
this
the
thing
party.
should go back. Now, what we are, if eventually the Senate president enters the race, he will be the first top northerner to enter the race, and that will be an indication that probably he was told that, look, this thing, there will be no zoning. If indeed they want to zone it to the south, that decision should have been taken by now.
Because
When is it?
27 days to the primary election.
And you're allowing people to buy forms and all
Yes,
that.
it's 27 days to the primary election.
So by now,
and the
we
chairman
should
is
know-
saying
they
you're
should
not
know where
taking
they are
the
going.
decision.
When
You're
are
not
you going
taking
to take the decision?
When are you going to take it?
Yeah.
When are you going to take it?
Chawo, a lot of people will say even the People's Democratic Party, they are not in power and everything, that it might not be so cast and concrete, but they are saying the APC, President Muhammadu Buhari from the north, your party produced Muhammadu Buhari from the north, yes, he's going to complete his 8 years. That is just to make any sense for the listening to look at the direction of the south, for equity, for stability, for peace.
You see, a lot of people have faulted that argument, which PDP, has always tried to put forward. Once you become a president produced by a particular party, at that point, you cease to be a president, for that party, you become the president of Nigeria. Become the president of Nigeria. And since independence, if you see the political calculus of Nigeria, the north and the south had always, shared powers. Now, Buhari's presidency, there is nobody in the north that will not say Buhari, filled the slot for the entire north, irrespective of the political party that he came from. Don't forget that some of these PDP members, when they saw the direction, the last 2015 election we are going, some of them from PDP left their party. Left their party and joined the APC.
Immediately.
So why did they do so?
They walked out on...
Yes.
Jonathan.
Because they wanted to make sure that a northerner became the president. It was no longer which party is the person going to
Especially
come
given
from.
the fact that
Yes.
Jonathan completed
the other
Yaradua's...
So that is just the issue. For the APC, Adamu, the national chairman, should not be allowed that luxury of equivocation at this point in time. The party should come out clearly to state its position, particularly President Buhari, who is the leader of the party.
Yes,
irrespective of the fact that he has a national chairman, he still remains the leader of that very party. And I don't think it will augur well for the party, for the nation, if after 8 years of Buhari's presidency, another northerner takes over from Buhari. That would be a joke.
That would be a joke. Outrightly. Now, the way we are looking at this now, we are looking at the time frame, and if they've not taken a position, and people are going to take 100 million form, they are going to buy the form. So how will I purchase the form, campaign, and everything?
I think they made up their minds to throw it open. And I think that is what the PDP too will do. Because you see, if the northern governors from the PDP who are bent on contesting, the only way to make them happy is to allow them to and try test their popularity. They've made up their minds that this is their time, they have to contest, you know? And as far as they are concerned, the South had dominated the presidency from the PDP end. Obasanjo, 8 years, Jonathan. So they think that, okay, this time they should go. So I think the PDP will go ahead and just throw it open. I think also that the way it's going, APC wants to do that too.
They might not make a pronouncement.
Yes, they might
not be categorical.
Because if they wanted to do that, at the point when the governor of Kogi State decided to enter the race, he should have been told that, look, where this thing is going to decide.
Or they will not sell the nomination form to anybody that look, this is the party's decision.
But it's clear that they want to leave that open, because this issue of zoning of the presidency is an emotive issue. Some people could leave the party because of it, you know? So I think that from their body language, they are not going to zone the thing to the South. And the way things are going, they are interested in getting as many people as possible to buy the form, because the chairman has said that they want to use that money to prepare for the 2023 election. So they will be happy to receive as
made up their mind
as many billions as possible. You know? So that is the thing.
The point has to be made for those pushing the argument that the South has had, much time in the villa, since 1999. But Nigeria did not start in 1999. Nigeria did not start in 1999.
Okay.
The North had, up to 40 years there. Created all the 36 states in Nigeria and then 774 local governments in Nigeria.
Under military.
And it is through these states and councils that they are sharing of revenue.
It's a wonderful thing that we are celebrating the World Press Day again. And it's a thing of joy to do this job. This is a job that gives us joy.
Nobody's gagging us.
We just want to be allowed to do our job the best way we can do it. And government should not be tempted to be abrasive in its response to the media. The media will make its mistakes, but there is no need for disproportionate response to mistakes by the media or unnecessary censorship. That is the way the media can grow. And I also want to appeal to government, because these are difficult times to practice our profession. Because things are expensive. Newspapers can't buy newsprint. So in order to save the journalism profession,
broadcasting stations can't run 24 hours again.
Yes,
they close
because of diesel. So in order to take to save the profession, certain steps need to be taken. Government needs to really help. Where they need to even give waivers to media houses to bring in newsprint and other consumables. I think government should do that so that they can save this profession.
Yeah, but time fast spent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your contribution. Yeah. And PQ, thank you for being there always. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat episodes, broadcast of this episode tonight at 11, and join us for Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30.